My business was recently on the Kelly and Mark show.
So this is Elise Brienne Designs, and these are basically, she wanted to infuse art into life in a fun way.
Which is a ABC talk show. I think it's like the #1 talk show on like several rankings. So that was really cool and such an amazing opportunity. Obviously, I do a lot of my marketing and outreach on social media. So doing like a traditional media appearance is different and really exciting because we're able to reach new customers that maybe aren't already going to find us like scrolling on their phone. So that was such an awesome opportunity, and I'm gonna tell you how we got it. So, love to not gatekeep as much as possible. My whole YouTube channel is just all kinds of tips and tricks for if you run a small business. And I wish I could give you like a layout for like step 1, 2, 3, 4 for getting on the Kelly and Mark show. I can't do that, but I'm going to tell you as much as I possibly can. The reason I can't give you like an easy checklist is because I didn't even actually see the Kelly and Mark sort of people who found us, but it was at the Atlanta Market trade show. So I have made a ton of videos about going to the Atlanta Market for the past couple of years. And we know that one of the buyers for the overall brand, Savvy Shopper, Tori Johnson, they do like multiple different retail on TV opportunities. And so they do placements on the Kelly and Mark show, Good Morning America, The View, etc. And they have buyers who walk around the trade shows, I'm gathering now that I know in hindsight, and they saw my brand. I don't know where they saw my brand because I have been in 3 different locations at the trade show in Atlanta. And I did go in January and July of last year, and this opportunity happened after the July show. So I'm assuming that's when they found us, but they reached out to us, which was really exciting and awesome. Like, it's so fun to see like a really, really good opportunity pop up in your inbox after getting like spam all the time. But they found us at the July Atlanta Market, which means they found us either in Daniel Richards or Best of Show. And I'm guessing they probably found us in Best of Show because we have such a big presence right on the window. But doing markets has always been such an awesome opportunity, being able to come across opportunities that you just like otherwise wouldn't know even exist, because I didn't know that Tori Johnson, Savvy Shopper, ABC did this whole sort of situation. Point is, when you put yourself out there, especially at trade shows, which is like the optimal place to make connections, good things come of it. The Savvy Shopper deal is that when you are featured on the show, you do a markdown of your products. So it makes sense for them to try and find you at a wholesale show, because wholesale prices when you sell to a retail store are at least 50% off most of the time. So I'm guessing that's probably why they walk around the wholesale shows, because they know that you're able to accommodate a markdown like that, which is part of their sort of credibility and draw with their customers and viewers, because those customers and viewers know they're getting a really deep discount from brands that otherwise aren't offering such a deep discount. It all worked out because we're kind of set up for a wholesale model already. And so we're able to offer those deep discounts in this instance, knowing that there's going to be a large volume of orders. So it's actually worth it, because obviously that's the point of wholesale, is if you can guarantee you're selling a higher volume of product, you can take a smaller like margin on it. So that's how they found us. We offered that huge discount, but once they reached out, we had to organize exactly like what products we were going to make available to them, and then also when and what show we were going to be featured on. So they didn't reach out to us and say, we want you on the Kelly and Mark show on October 2nd. They just said, would you all be interested? And if so, let us know what products you have available. We'll review those products, see if it's a good fit with our viewers and customers, and then we'll see if we can get you in and at what point. We were really lucky in that we have a lot of products that were slightly overstocked, and also just in general like would have been a really good opportunity. Like, some of them were overstocked, some of them are just like a lot of stock. This is like the first sort of time in the history of EBD that we actually could have had an opportunity and like completed it, because it did require a ton of prep, it required a ton of inventory, it required like all of the infrastructure and space that we have in our warehouse. So being able to pull that off was really exciting. So once we figured out that this was actually going to work, we could offer that discount. We had the inventory. We just had to figure out which products we wanted to offer to them. And so we put out there a couple of different patterns of different items. We mainly did rosewood blooms, primavera, lilac floral, countryside blooms, and those were patterns that we had more stock of than other patterns, but they also looked nice together, so they could be like in a nice presentation on the actual show. And also I'm trying to get rid of rosewood blooms, which is kind of a secret, but I've probably said it before. So I was like, let's throw her in too. So we curated a couple of different patterns and we made like select product categories available to them, because obviously I have like 50 plus product categories. I don't even know at this point, but we can't just like recreate our entire selection and website on the site that they set up, which I'll get to in a second. So we had to kind of pare it down. So we picked a couple of patterns, we picked a couple of products, and then we also threw in our coloring books because they're just so popular. But that's how we kind of chose what products we wanted to offer. And then they liked our selection. They decided to move forward with us. And then they found that they had an opportunity to place us on the October 2nd showing on Kelly and Mark. So when they emailed us that option, we were like, yes, let's go for it. It was obviously a lot to coordinate, like how much inventory we would have and when, because you have to have the inventory available several weeks out for the day of the actual airing, and our inventory can fluctuate, and like we can have sales or we can just have like normal orders that are going to obviously decrease the inventory levels of certain products. So we had to like look at the highest stock items, offer those, they got selected, and then we had to pull them from our inventory to make sure they'd be available for that actual taping and airing. So that was a ton of work. And then we had to plan in advance all of the boxes that we would need, the extra SPS pickups that we would need so we could send out all the orders, and then make sure everybody was in the office to actually pack and ship everything. So there was a ton of prep that went into that. I actually didn't do any of it, but I'm so thankful to my awesome team for pulling that all together, because it was so much work and it went off so smoothly. But the actual way that we sold to customers is we worked with Kelly and Mark and Savvy Shopper to set up a microsite. So it was through Shopify, which my normal website is already through, but they set up a little Shopify store for us that was Elise brand design specific. And it was just like a normal Shopify store, but it was only a limited number of our products. And so we gave them all the information, the photos, the inventory, all of that. They set up a Shopify store. It went to a PayPal account, like the money that was through the Shopify account went to PayPal, and then we could transfer it to us. So there was like a lot of like sort of accounts and things that we had to set up to make it all work. And the Shopify store got set up by their team, which was great, but obviously we were doing a lot of back and forth and tweaking and editing. And so we were very attentive and careful about all the details and making sure that we were presenting our product accurately and the photos were looking good, and we had all the dimensions and all of that so we could minimize any sort of returns or like missed expectations. And then we sent samples of the items that were available on that microsite to the actual Kelly and Mark show, and they set up a table of our stuff, and it was a really beautiful presentation. And then on the day of the airing, about halfway through, 35 minutes in maybe, they started showing all of the brands that were featured on that segment of Savvy Shopper that day. And there was probably like, I want to say there's like 8-ish. So there was like kind of cleaning brands and like face creams and like shoe insoles and stuff like that. And then we were the last one right before the commercial break.
That's like a little birthday present for you, okay? Coloring books? Coloring books. So this is Elise Brienne Designs, and these are basically, she wanted to infuse art into life in a fun way. So we have coloring books, we have pencil pouches, we have desk mats. And again, this one has a cool backstory. So she was actually a college student studying for law school, started selling these out of her apartment in between classes. Flash forward, and she has a full team, a warehouse, and just a huge assortment. And we love a story like that.
I do.
Also,
love that.
as a former teacher, start thinking about the holidays. This is an awesome teacher gift. This is a great teacher gift. And these just start at $8 with the 50% off.
Wow.
All right, thank you, Monica.
It was really fun that they sort of talked about my story, talked about how I started my business while I was in law school, talked about the products a little bit, and talked about how they would be a good gift with the holidays coming up or for teachers or things like that. So they had our coloring books on display, they had our cosmetic bags, our desk mats, notebooks, all that good stuff. And because it was right before the commercial break, once the commercial hit, we saw a huge skyrocket on the Shopify microsite of people visiting, because they had a QR code on the screen where you could easily get linked to the microsite. And so we saw tons of visitors. I think it got up to 5, 6, maybe even more, 100 people at a time. So it was really, really fun to see that. And there was an airing at 9 o'clock Eastern, Central, Mountain, and Pacific time. So we got to see waves of people viewing and orders coming in. But we didn't just see a big spike after the show. It was kind of like all day long. And then even for the week following, we started getting orders from the microsite. So we fulfilled those orders as normal. They were all set up and synced with our current order fulfillment system. And we got those all sent out probably within like 2 days of the airing because we were so well prepped and it all went quite smoothly. But just as like an overview of what you're getting into when you get onto these sort of this particular type of national TV opportunity, there was so much prep and back and forth and arranging and confirming and all of that with their team. But it was, of course, so worth it because not only did we get a ton of orders directly from that showing, but also they get 2 million viewers every day, so, or roughly, and so that's just huge exposure for us as well. So anytime somebody hears Elise Brienne Design, that is so awesome. And of course I love like promoting my own brand and sharing my story and my thoughts about my products, but when someone else endorses you, especially like a kind of big name talk show, it means a lot, I think, to customers. So being able to reach people that way is so awesome. I guess my main takeaway is when you are able to get in front of especially the right kinds of buyers or right kinds of people at a trade show, you never really know what's going to come of it. I would have never predicted that this sort of opportunity would be available at the trade show because that's really where we're thinking we're going to meet wholesale clients. And this was a little bit different. But definitely take those opportunities. And then when you have the chance to work with someone like this, obviously, like I said, there was a big discount involved, so our margin was smaller, but you just got to take the opportunities where you can get them. And we're still profitable in the end, even though it's like a major discount off of our normal retail pricing. But we also offered that major discount to our regular customers. So it's also a fun like opportunity for our regular customers to shop at that major discount as well. So it's a win for our current customers. It's a win for getting that exposure. It's a win for getting new customers. It's just like another lesson in like never turn down an opportunity because you never know what will come of it. And it's just worth it to kind of keep adding interest and keep moving the business forward. I always think of it like building a house, like building my business reminds me of like building a house in that like I think every opportunity, while it's not going to put up like an entire wall at once, it adds a brick to it. So like a TikTok goes viral, okay, that's a brick. Like we get an opportunity to go to like the trade show or like get a new wholesale client and we add a brick. But like this was like adding like several bricks at once because we got so much exposure and so many orders and so many new customers out of it. So always look for those opportunities to add another brick to your house. Thank you so much for watching till the end. If you have any questions about this, let me know. I'm gonna make a follow-up video explaining all of my experience with national TV opportunities because I've also been on the Today Show, which you may know a couple years ago. And let me know if you have any questions or comments. I'll address them in that video as well. And don't forget to like and subscribe.